Although Coca-Cola wasn't available to the Japanese public until 1960, Japan has now become the most important international market for this popular beverage. In fact, today, you can find a Coke vending machine on just about every other street corner in Japan. It is now the soft drink of choice here. But 40 years ago, the Japanese thought that Coca-Cola looked just like another small bottle of soy sauce. Though Coke made a brief appearance in the Japanese market in the 1910s and 20s, the first significant consumption of the drink here took place after World War II, on military bases where U.S. occupational forces were stationed. It wasn't until 1957 that the company's Japanese subsidiary was officially established with the intention of selling to the general public. Interestingly, the manufacturing and marketing license was secured not by an American, but an experienced Japanese businessman, Nisaburo Takanashi, who gave Coca-Cola a head start. This concept of going into partnership with knowledgeable locals is vital to business success in Japan, and Coca-Cola applied the concept time and again in its selection of powerful local companies like Mitsui and Mitsubishi to build up its bottling and distribution operations across the country. As a result, Coca-Cola Japan calls itself a multi-local rather than multinational company. Taizo Yamada, formerly vice president of the Mitsubishi Corporation, now heads the Fuji Coca-Cola bottling company.
So I said that Coca-Cola made a good selection to establish their franchise. See? Selected not the small company, but selected the established company, at least locally established company, to do the business.
The local expertise offered by the bottlers was important because not only was Coca-Cola introducing a new product to Japan, but also a new system of distribution, bypassing the traditional layers of wholesalers and selling directly to retailers.
When we introduced Coca-Cola, we introduced a store-door delivery system. And our bottlers in the beginning had a very difficult time in convincing the local population that this was the way to go. The second aspect of it, which was a major hurdle, was that in the beginning, all of our products were sold for cash. And in Japan, based on the cultural experiences, bills were usually paid back then once or twice a year. So, you know, they'd say, well, why don't you come back once you regain your senses and start trying to do business in Japan like the rest of the normal people.
However, through years of hard work and the strength of the bottling system, Coca-Cola prevailed over initial skepticism and instituted in Japan practices that had proved successful for the company around the world. Still, there are concessions to the Japanese style of doing business. For instance, here at the Fuji bottling plant, most of the workers are under lifetime employment, a practice reflecting the Japanese belief that long-term commitments result in more fruitful business relationships. Decision-making is based on consensus. This form is called a ringi-sho. It contains a proposal to which each division or section head must put his stamp of approval before any action is taken. Even the head office in Tokyo operates as what Vice President Frank Kelly calls a hybrid company.
Here in Japan, we would assist our Japanese employees in purchasing a home. Low-interest loans, as an example. We have a number of social clubs within the company. Ikebana, Japanese flower arranging. What we have here is more of a group activities. We do a lot of things as a team, as a group, rather than individuals.
Another ingredient to success in Japan is to tailor products to meet the tastes of local consumers. For Coca-Cola, this has meant developing a whole new line of products that fall under the broad definition of soft drinks in Japan.
In 1970s, the Japanese farmers had overproduced their supply of Mikan oranges. And they came to us and said, is there anything Coca-Cola might be able to do in order to use up this excess supply? And what we did was we formulated a high C 50% juice drink, and thereby generated the eternal gratefulness of the Japanese farmers.
Coke's advertising strategy also tries to cultivate its corporate image as a good citizen, and the fact that the product has become very much a part of everyday existence in Japan.
We want to closely identify with the Japanese people. We want to be part of the local community. Yes, we are an international company, but most importantly, we want to be considered Japanese and relate to our Japanese consumers.
Over the years, Coca-Cola has strengthened its relationship with Japan to become a classic case of foreign business success here. It holds over 30% of the soft drink market share and over 90% of the cola market. Its distribution system sells to over 1 million dealers. It operates over 700,000 vending machines across the country. And it is also a technological innovator for the company's worldwide operations. Still, it must be remembered that this kind of success isn't achieved overnight, especially not in Japan.
I'll tell you a secret. I think the most important thing that you have to learn as a foreigner in Japan is to develop or to have patience. Patience is very important because consensus building is a key to success here. So you have to be patient. You have to let things develop.
It is interesting to note that Pepsi-Cola, which was introduced to the Japanese market around the same time as Coke, has been a minor competitor. Many have attributed Pepsi's weak performance to its inability to find strong local partners to help get business started. So perhaps the most important key to Coca-Cola's success in Japan is the establishment of a powerful local presence. As a multi-local company, Coke was able to institute a distribution network that ran counter to Japanese tradition. At the same time, it also adopted local business and social practices that reflect its long-term commitment to Japan and its corporate image as a good citizen. And though it already had a world-renowned product line, Coca-Cola Japan readily developed new products to meet changing market trends and needs. Of course, it did help that Coca-Cola was a successful multinational corporation to begin with. But one lesson is clear. In order to succeed in Japan, you have to maintain some form of local presence. It could be an agent or a distributor or a subsidiary, but you have to make it clear that you take the Japanese market seriously and that you are in it for the long term. Otherwise, you won't be taken seriously.